Okay, as we move on, it's time to review 11.5 through 11.7. Please make sure you know I took Ms. Shirey's review and I just changed it a little bit to make sure that it matches the questions that you're going to see on the quiz. And I also put how many of each type you're going to see on the quiz. Number 34, I see an equal sign. Remember that means that the denominators are going to go away. So the common denominator, this does not factor, is the 4b and the b minus 3. Now I'm going to go back and see what's missing. This is missing a 4b, this is missing a b minus 3. Now we're going to multiply those two together to get 4b equals 1 parenthesis b minus 3. Distribute in your 1. 4b equals 1b minus 3. Take away 1b to join it to the other side. That's 3b equals negative 3. Divide by 3. b equals negative 1. We'll go back and we'll check these in a little bit. Number 36. None of the denominators factor, so the common denominator is 5x and 2. This one needs a 2 and an x. This one needs a 5 and an x. This one needs a 5 and an x. I apologize, the middle one does not need a 5 and an x. The middle one needs a 2 and a 5. My bad. So the first circle, when you multiply, gives you 2x minus the second circle gives you 2, 5, that makes 10 when you multiply, equals, this circle makes 5x. I'm going to take the 2x to the other side. This is basic algebra now. I get negative 10 equals 3x. I divide to get negative 10 divided by 3, which does not reduce. For negative 3.3 repeating, we do prefer fractions. Number 37. This does not factor, this does not factor. Common denominator is x plus 2 and x plus 1. This needs an x plus 1 from the bottom. This needs an x plus 2. I have x parenthesis x plus 1 on the left in that circle equals parenthesis x minus 3 and parenthesis x plus 2 in that circle. This side gives you x squared plus 1x. This side, you're going to have to, as you would say, rainbow it. Gives you x squared plus 2x minus 3x minus 6. Now I see an x squared, so I'm going to set everything equal to 0. And, well, first let's combine our like terms. That's x squared plus 1x equals x squared minus 1x minus 6 when you put those two together. Take the x squared and the 1x over by subtraction. You get a big 0. Remember, with x squared problems, we set them equal to 0. What is very convenient is that x squareds cancel out, and you get negative 2x minus 6. Add 6. 6 equals negative 2x. I'm not going to have to box this or do the quadratic formula because the x squareds cancel. That's negative 3 equals x. We'll go back and check our answers very soon. Number 38. I see nothing on the denominators that factor. So the common denominator, you might want to put that t over 1. The common denominator is just a t. You may change those to x's if you do not like t's. This t needs a t. This 8 is good, this 17 is good because they both have t's. So t times t, that's going to make t squared minus 8 equals 17. I see a squared, so you can do one of two things. You can add the 8 and take the square root, or you can take the 17 over, get t squared minus 25 equals 0. We have three options. We can box this, we can use the quadratic formula, or we can solve and use square roots. All three of those will work. I'll do the quadratic formula this time. Remember, a is 1, b is 0, c is negative 25. Please remember that you could do any of these three methods, so I'm going to put the word or in between them. Opposite b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac. Notice I didn't even bother to square 0 because it's going to be 0. It doesn't really matter. All over 2 times a. That's 0 plus or minus square root of a, when you type that in your calculator, you get 100, I hope, all over 2. That's 0 plus or minus 10 over 2 because of the square root of 100. That's a positive 10 over 2 and a negative 10 over 2 when you add and subtract. That becomes a positive 5 and a negative 5 as two answers. We will go back through and check these solutions in a little bit. Number 39. I don't see anything in the denominators that factors, so the common denominator is x plus 5 and x plus 4. This x plus 2 needs an x plus 4. This x minus 4 needs an x plus 5 from the bottom. So I'm going to have an x plus 2 in my force fields and an x plus 4 in force fields equals an x minus 4 in force field and an x plus 5 in a force field. You're going to do quite a few arcs on this. That's going to be x squared plus 4x plus 2x plus 8 equals x squared plus 5x minus 4x minus 20. I see a lot of x squared, so first thing I'm going to do is combine my like terms. This side is x squared plus 6x plus 8 equals x squared plus 1x minus 20 when you combine your x's. I'm going to take over this x squared, take over this 1x, and take over this 2 by doing their inverse operation, so minus, minus, and plus. Minus, minus, and plus. 6 minus 1 is 5x plus 10 equals our 0. I don't have a squared anymore, so I don't have to do the quadratic formula. I just take over my 10 by subtraction. I divide by my 5 to get negative 2. Okay, number 40. The common denominator, I see nothing that factors. So if I look at all my denominators, I know that I'm going to need a 9 and an n squared to accommodate for all the others. This 4 is going to need a 9 and an extra n because it has one single n on the bottom. This 20 is good, and this 1 needs a 9n squared. These are going to make 36n minus 20 equals 1 times 9n squared is 9n squared. I see an n squared. I need to set this thing equal to 0. I'm going to write set equals 0 because we have a squared. Minus 36n, add 20. Minus 36n, add 20. I had nothing to combine, so I'm moving now. 0 equals 9n squared minus 36n plus 20. I don't have a GCF. I'm going to choose, you can do two things here. You can do box or quadratic formula to solve because of the squared. I'm going to choose I'll do quadratic formula again. So opposite b plus or minus square root of parenthesis b squared. Oh, make sure you have parentheses around it. Minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. Oops, so that'd be 2 times 9. I am not going to pretend that I can do this in my head. Let me get a calculator. Got it. So inside my square root I have parenthesis negative 36 squared minus 4 times 9 times 20. 576. So that is 36 plus or minus square root of 576 over 18. So that's 36 plus or minus the square root of 576 is, I should know this, 24. I knew that, I was just pretending. Add together, so 36 and 24 make 60 over 18. 36 minus 24 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6 is 12 over 18. I call that baby brain. 60 over 80 reduced. 60 over 18 reduced is 10/3. We'll check that answer. And 12 over 18 reduced is 2/3. We'll check that answer. Number 41. This doesn't factor, this doesn't factor, this does factor. So you will need to box this problem right here. I am not going to bother to box the top is a GCF, but I'm actually not going to do it. Okay, so I'm going to cross this off, and when I box it, students, you should pause the video and try to box that. Hopefully you're all doing exactly what I told you. You should get conveniently C plus 1 and C minus 1, which just so happens to match these two. That should usually happen. I do that on purpose. Common denominator is c plus 1 and c minus 1. Let's go see what's missing. This 4 is missing a c minus 1. This 2 is missing a c plus 1. This 3c plus 6 is not missing anything. Okay, so we're going to have a 4 with parentheses c minus 1. Then we're going to have a minus 2, parentheses c plus 1. My video keeps stalling. Equals a 3c plus 6. Oops. Over here I'm going to distribute in a 4 and a negative 2. So that will give me 4c minus 4 minus 2c minus 2 equals 3c plus 6. I don't see any squareds, but I do have to clean this side up a little bit. So that's going to be 2c minus 6 equals 3c plus 6. Now I'm going to take this 3c to the left. Negative 1c minus 6 equals 6. I don't set it equal to 0 because I do not see a squared. Add 6. Negative 1c equals 12. Divide by negative 1, c is negative 12. We will check that answer very soon. Number 43. This does not factor. This is over a 1. Now this is a box. I want you to pause the video. Figure out what the box of this bottom is. When you boxed it, hopefully you got t plus 5 and t minus 5. The common denominator is a t plus 5 and a t minus 5. I could write a 1, but 1s tend to be semi-useless for us. Let's see what's missing. This 4 is missing a t minus 5. This 1 is missing both of them. I'm sorry, so squished. This 15 is missing nothing. So here's the 4. I said it was missing a t minus 5. Here's my plus 1, and I said it was missing both. Here's my equals and my 15, and I said the 15 was not missing anything. We have a lot of distributing to do on this side. 2 arcs there, 1, 2, 3, 4 arcs there. And the good news is, since it's a 1, this is not going to affect anything else. So that's 4t minus 20 plus t squared minus 5t plus 5t minus 25 equals 15. I'm going to clean this side up a little bit. That's going to be t squared. Let's see, 4t minus 5t plus 5t. That's going to make a 4t. A minus 20 and a minus 25 is a minus 45 equals 15. So I cleaned that side up. Now because I have a squared, I need to set it equal to 0. I'm going to write that. I'm going to write set equals 0 because it was a squared problem. That's t squared plus 4t minus 60 equals 0. You have 2 options here. You can box this, or you can do the quadratic formula. I've done the quadratic formula twice now, so this time I'm going to choose to box this. A times c is negative 60, and b is 4. My numbers are going to be, oh boy, 6 and 10. And I'm going to need negative 6. That'll work. So here goes my box. Wow, look at all the room I have. So t squared goes here, and negative 60 goes here. You should be pretty good at the box by now. Negative 6t goes here. Oh, it's so messy. And positive 10t goes here. GCF here is a t, GCF here is a positive 10. GCF here is a t, GCF here is a negative 6. Ah, it's getting squished. So, when I factor it, I have t minus 6 and t plus 10. Uh-oh, this is getting smushed. Then you solve each parenthesis. So you do t minus 6 equals 0, and t plus 10 equals 0. By the way, you could have done the quadratic formula. Add 6 to get t equals 6, subtract 10 to get t equals negative 10. That was really tight. You might want to tell the kids to get a separate piece of paper on that one. 44. Suppose you can clean your kitchen. Oop, I see a work problem. Okay. Suppose you can clean your kitchen in 30 minutes. There's one of these on the quiz. It takes me about an hour to clean my kitchen. Your friend can clean your kitchen in 45 minutes. How long if you work together? Oh, I would always like some help. So here's you. You are one kitchen in 30 minutes. And here's your friend, one kitchen in 45 minutes. You want to clean a total of 1 kitchens. You are each doing a proportion of x together. So x will be how much time it takes you if you're both together. Common denominator, we can do 30 and 45. There is a smaller number, but who cares? So this one needs a 45, this one needs a 30, and this one needs both. So that's going to make 45x plus 30x equals 30 times 45, 1350, because you have to multiply 30 and 45. That's going to be 75x equals 1350. You're going to divide by 75, and you get x equals 18 minutes when you work together. If anybody wants to come to my house and help me clean my kitchen, I wouldn't mind. Number 45. One employee of a landscaping company can mow one lawn in 20 minutes. Another employee can do it in 15. How long if they're going to mow one lawn all together? So they're this guy's doing 1/20th of the time, and this guy's doing 1/15th of the time. The common denominator is 20 and 15. Now, technically, the common denominator would be 60, but this is much easier to do it this way. Give this guy a 15, give this guy a 20, give this guy both, a 20 and a 15. A lot of students sometimes forget to give him anything. So that's 15x plus 20x equals 20 times 15 is 300. I did that without a calculator, but I did just double check myself. So it's 35x equals 300, divide by 35. Dun, dun, dun. 8. It doesn't say what to round to, so we'll do is 8.57. That's what you get, 8.5714, so we'll just do 8.57 minutes together. If anybody wants to also help me come mow my lawn, I would also appreciate that, so we can clean the kitchen and mow the lawn. Or maybe you could just do it for me. Okay, there will be 2 of these ones on the quiz. Find the equation for the inverse relationship. Inverse relationship, that's pretty important. That means y equals k over x in both of these problems. So number 46, y, which is 10, equals k, which we don't know, over x, which is 7. Hey, this looks like a question on the final. I hope you all just wrote that down. Multiply both sides by 7. 70 equals k. That is not the end, although that might be all I ask for in the final. Hint, hint, wink, wink, answer. Okay, you get y equals 70 over x, therefore, is the final. Number 47. Y, which is negative 8, equals k over x, which is 12. Multiply by 12. I feel like that's 96, so maybe I should double check my baby brain. 12 times negative 8, negative 96, yay, equals k. Now that's just the constant of variation. I still need to make my equation. So I do y equals negative 96 over x. Ta-da! Number 49. Okay, we're going to find the equation, and it is inverse again. And the missing value. Holy cow, we got a lot of stuff to do. So we're going to use this point to start with, okay? Y, because it's x, y. And remember, we're doing y equals k over x. Maybe I should make sure you understand that. That's inverse. Okay, that's an arrow, a very messy arrow. So y equals k over 5.4 multiplied by 5.4. 3 times 5.4 is 16.2 equals k. The equation, therefore, is y equals 16.2 over x. Now, they want us to figure out what y is if x is 2. Boop, boop, boop. So what we're going to do is y equals 16.2 over 2, which is 8.1. So we found the equation, and then we found the missing value. Do the same thing. Use the one that's all filled in. Y, which is 6, remember it's xy, equals k over 5, multiplied by 5. 30 equals k. The equation is y equals 30 over x. Now for the missing value. Whee! They want us to plug in 4 for y. So I'll do 4 equals 30 over x. Oh, I gotta multiply each side by x. That always throws people off. That's weird for kids. So you get 4x equals 30. Remember the x's cancel. Divide by 4. 30 divided by 4 is 7.5. So I found the equation and I found the missing value. Oh, I hope this is almost done. It's not. Okay, I'm going to take a break.